Okay, so it is still April 1st, 2026, and this is a Wednesday. I believe it was last Thursday when I completed the manuscript Random House that was not randomly sent to the Penguin Random House Canada to their editorial team. And in that novel, it actually, goodness, what do they call it? Is it a Klein bottle? It seamlessly goes into itself. So there's a lot going on with it, and I think it's wonderful. I enjoyed reading and or writing and reading it, and I just actually just listened to it the recording that I did about oh the unpalatable experience that I'm now becoming increasingly aware of regarding my the way I am seen due to my lower standings in our society, and going through a period or a season of impoverishment. I'm starting to notice that people are pitying me, and uh, oh goodness, so this is a community that I grew up in, so I know many people here, and have relationships that were founded and established and founded back in our childhoods, and and everybody always had those, like you grow up with people and you go to primary, secondary, primary and secondary school, and some people you even go to post-secondary school with, but then you enter to the job force, and strangely enough, the way we're seen as children can remain all the way through adolescence, and into adulthood. And but the way we're seen and the way people perceive us doesn't always have to include or be in alignment with who we are inside, in the maturation and the evolution, for lack of a better word, that's occurring within us. And I was actually really delighted to listen to that last, that last video recording, as I found it to be insightful. And although it's difficult to go through these things, please don't get me wrong. Like, there was a situation recently where I was walking past, unfortunately, and I won't hide these things. I don't mean this as an attack at all. As I include this, but I will say this because it doesn't, and I'll clarify why I'm saying this. But a gentleman who is more well known at one of the churches, and so he's in a kind of a leadership role, and he's got a very, very good reputation at the church. But I find behind closed doors, and this is not a small few that I notice of these. There's a higher number, which is, although it's tragic, it's also clearly recorded in the Holy Scriptures. But he's at one of the churches, so he's representing the name of Jesus. And I was walking past him. He was talking with a gentleman, another person that I know, and I said hi to them. And I remember he does a very poor job of hiding the contents of his heart, and he looks at people with disgust. And unfortunately, in the past, or I guess fortunately, unfortunately, I used to have, know him on a deeper level, and I'd have those conversations, or be exposed to those conversations that occur, when people kind of take the mask off, let's, for lack of a better word, and they divulge what is in their heart. And he seems to talk with a lot of contemptuously about many different people. He seems to have, he's very, very prideful and very judgmental, and he will base his judgment and opinion on you, based on, like, if he sees you struggling, if he sees you doing this or doing that, instead of offering a helping hand, he judges you. And that judgment is such a heavy weight, and it can really, to those that are lacking maturation and are unable to see, like, the spiritual root to it, oh goodness, it can have such a terrible, terrible impact. on the others, and also on himself as well. Um, just as Jesus says, judge not, lest you be judged yourself. With whatever measure, like the exact measure, you put on others, it will be measured against you. So it's very, very important that we have not just knowledge, but understanding of what these mean, with what Jesus is saying, so we can live it experientially. And but anyways, but I walked past him and the other gentleman. I like, normally would, like with the other gentleman, I would stop and talk. But with this gentleman, he kind of like, he looks at me with like eyes of disgust, like it's abject disgust. But he'll only do this around select people, like people that are in the churches that are in higher standing. He doesn't do this, so it's a performance, which is very terrible. But anyways, when I walked past, I could feel it inside, and it was like, oh, and I know it's because like he's actually mentioned to me in the past, and unfortunately I've had this even with like friends in my adolescence that would say, like, I remember one, anyways, I'll speak this out and then I'll add the supporting thought. But like, he's mentioned to me in the past that he's embarrassed about me, and that used to have such a deep impact on me. And there's another friend. So when I was growing up, I did something that he thought I did something that wasn't in agreement or in alignment with what he thought I should do. And he said the same thing. This was like a childhood friend that I was very close, like best friends with for many years. He said, like, I don't know if he said I'm ashamed of you or embarrassed of you, but it was something along that line, meaning like, you should be doing things the way I say you should be doing things. There's so much control in that. There's so much domination in that, and there's an inherent, whether it's known or unbeknownst to each of them, an inherent desire to manipulate the way somebody sees themselves, and manipulate the course of action that they're going to subsequently take. And in the past, this used to have, oh goodness, like devastating well, a devastating impact on me. I could get really like angry, and have this rebellious attitude that's like in this incensed state of, you're not going to talk to me this way. Or I could become very timid and think like, oh well, I don't like this, and oh, but I don't know what I can say to you. And anyways, all these different things. But now, like when I walk past like this gentleman and I noticed that, I just thought, I just see you as a broken person inside. Unfortunately, I see that like you've been wounded in your childhood, and instead of like humbling yourself and admitting that you were wounded, you allowed pride to come in, and pride to inflate you, and then you basically said, "I'm not hurt by this. That person's the bad guy." So you sought solace within a lie, and that lie becomes your mighty defender. And then now, like that you're living in that lie, or that you've accepted or come into agreement with that lie, now that becomes like your platform, where you can look at other people, and you become virtually God. You become the one that judges like their actions. It's very, very distasteful. It's unpalatable. Oh goodness, and it is ever present in our society. So with this situation, I just like, I seen it for what it is, and I just want to be respectful to both him and the other gentleman, as I always will be, and I just kept moving on. But it's lonely. You feel very, when I use the word social pariah, I really mean it. Like you move forward, you feel very lonely, you feel very detached, you feel like you're lonely, yet you're among many people. And that state of loneliness, or that existence of loneliness, becomes more purified, because as you realize, we could have connections, we could have conversations, but unfortunately you see me as somebody that's that you do not respect, and that you're looking to dominate. And because you don't respect me and you're looking to dominate me, I can't connect with you. When I need help. I could use a hug. I could use encouragement. The last thing I would need is ridicule. So, that being said, this is a very, very good, important, and poignant learning lesson that's very hard to come by, but a learning lesson, like all learning lessons, that is learned experientially. And because it's learned experientially, I now have the opportunity to ensure I do not do this to others. So that means this needs to be at the forefront of my mind. And when I'm moving forward and I come out of this period of impoverishment, it's going to be very important for me to constantly humble myself and remain in a state of humility so I don't allow anything external, any achievements or any, say, finances that I am an ambassador for or to inflate my sense of self value or to lift me up to a point where I feel superior, and in that state of superiority, I am able to look down at others as inferior. I know better. And I think this is just a wonderful, anything that humbles me, I find is a wonderful and the most worthwhile situations to go through. Yeah. So I just listened to that recording and I thought, goodness, I'm very appreciative of, again, having the faculty of mind to desire to record this, but also I give God all the glory for him providing me with a mind that is able to access these thoughts. Because in my former life before God, and even after I received Jesus and started living for him, I had to seek his kingdom, and it's so difficult. Seek his kingdom above all things, and which means my course of actions and my changes, the thoughts that I normally would pursue and that I like doing, I could no longer, not that I couldn't do them, I'm capable of doing them, but I chose to do what he says is correct. And then so in those actions, in the doing, he's transformed me. And so I give him all the praise and the glory. The most difficult path to walk by far, but it is it's it's what I agree with, and what like I couldn't be more delighted. And but anyhow, so this is something that's nice to be able to share. And I'm very appreciative that I'm able to access and see these things. Oh, I was going to say in the past I would have been flush with emotions because I was more ruled by the flesh and very heavily leaning on my own understanding. So I was very like, this is wrong, this is an injustice. Whereas now I see it as, oh, God, I want your kingdom, and God, to seek you in all things actually makes me a target, virtually an enemy to the world and all the things that have been established in a very wicked and corrupt world, with very fractured and basically hypocrisy riddled thoughts and opinions and belief systems, and this is part of it, and it hurts. It really hurts, but I'm going to keep moving forward, and I won't be deterred. And it awakens me to the reality. There's a young man that noticed that I haven't been at their Bible study or small group for a while, and he reached out. He just said, "Hey, I noticed you haven't been there for a while, and wanted to reach out to you, but also invite you out for breakfast and just to get to know you better." And I was thinking, oh, praise God, thank you so much. Like he's such a very humble man that is very sincere, and oh goodness, sincere relationships, sincere friendships, sincere conversations are such a blessing. And But anyway, so this just opens my eyes to, these other things happen and they really hurt, but I can learn from them. But there's also people that'll reach out when they notice that you're missing, and they reach out with sincere, I wouldn't even say concern, like they're just, they want to know that you to know that you appreciate it, and they want to exercise this through actions and not just words. And that's greatly, greatly noted. And so I'm just learning and growing, and I'm very, I feel very privileged to be able to share this as an update, and to share that, oh goodness, things aren't easy. They can be very rather difficult, but I'm going to stick with the vision and keep doing what I know is pleasing in the sight of God. And yeah, and just like when you're moving forward, seasons change and scenery changes, and I'm going to keep moving forward, and I won't get stuck on like anything from the past.